Attention all tank commanders, your time has finally arrived. Every year we see a new crop of talent come through the ranks, and those that follow the NBA draft from the jump tend to have a decent idea of who the top picks in the upcoming draft could be, but this year, in the class of 2023, it has two absolute gems sitting above the rest, and every NBA team in rebuild mode should be salivating at the potential of landing one of them. The two players in question who we will be discussing today in this video are Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, and their teams actually played an exhibition match last night to showcase their skills against each other, and boy did it live up to the hype. Since these two have now officially gotten introduced to the basketball world on a grander scale, you're all probably looking for more information about them and their games, and that's exactly what we'll be doing today. I'm going to go through each player's rise to this point, what makes them so gifted, and why you can't really go wrong with either in next year's draft. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. We're going to be starting things off with Scoot Henderson today, who plays for the newly established G League Ignite program that is going into its third year of existence. And unlike previous prospects we've seen go through this system, this will actually be Henderson's second season playing there, despite still being just 18 years old. Henderson's high school career was nothing short of dominant, as he took home the 5A State Player of the Year award in Georgia as a sophomore, and then in his junior year in high school, he averaged about 32 points per game and took home the 6A State Player of the Year award, firmly establishing himself as one of the best players in the country. Instead of finishing things out by going the normal route though, he opted to reclassify by graduating early with a 3.5 GPA to the 2021 graduating class, so instead of playing his senior season or accepting offers from the several interested collegiate programs that were recruiting him, he chose to join the G League Ignite program at just 17 years of age in order to get a head start on his journey to becoming an NBA player, and this decision has, without question, been paying off for him. Last season in the G League, he was the youngest player competing, while also playing alongside draft prospects that were a year older than him, getting prioritized more because of the fact that they were preparing for the 2022 draft, while Henderson couldn't get drafted until 2023, with teammates Jaden Hardy, Dyson Daniels, and Marjon Beauchamp all getting drafted, along with teammate Michael Foster getting picked up as an undrafted free agent. Despite playing with all of that talent though, it was often Henderson who stuck out the most in games while coming off of the bench for them, because he, to put it simply, was the most talented player on the team. Obviously, as a 17-year-old competing in a league against other professional athlete grown men, he did have his ups and downs with his consistency, but when he was on, there was very little any of his opponents could do to slow him down. He had 4 games scoring over 20 points, he had 1 game where he scored a career-high 31 points, and he scored in double figures in 16 of the 21 games that he played for them, while coming off of the bench, finishing the season averaging a solid 14 points per game. The thing that I love about Henderson's demeanor out on the floor is that he doesn't play like most teenagers in his shoes would, where he would be tentative and hesitant, trying not to mess up in this atmosphere competing against grown men. Instead, Henderson keeps his foot on the gas from the jump and quite simply is an absolute dog out on the floor who plays in non-stop attack mode. If you were watching one of his games without knowing anything about him, you would never have guessed in a million years that he was the 17-year-old out there who's inexperienced, because nothing about him gives off that kind of energy. As a shot-creating guard, he has a nice crisp handle, he's 6'3" with a 6'9" wingspan, giving him ideal length for a wing player at the NBA level, and what impresses me the most is that while we so often see young players with these ideal physical tools come in as projects needing development, Henderson is a dialed scoring talent with a deep bag at his disposal already. In the game against Wenbinyama's squad last night, he came out and on the first play of the game took his defender off the dribble and knocked down a tough pull-up jumper in his face to start things off. He wants to set the tone, and he's good enough to do it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of damage he does in the G League this year with a full season of experience under his belt, because he has a chance to be the best guard prospect we have seen in a long while. With all of that being said, though, there is somehow an even more tantalizing prospect on the rise in this year's class, and that is one Victor Wembanyama, who represents everything you can think of when the label of a unicorn prospect comes out. We quite simply have never seen anything like Wenbinyama before in our lives, and it's honestly somewhat surreal to think about the fact that he is as good as advertised. As I mentioned previously, Wembanyama and Henderson battled it out last night in an exhibition game, and while Scoot Henderson finished that game with 28 points and 9 assists, Wenbinyama finished the game with 37 points and 5 blocks for Metropolitans 92, which is a team in France's top league. Victor Wembanyama stands at 7'4", who plays as a forward, because unlike any player his size we've ever seen, he has legitimate skill putting the ball on the floor and creating for himself off the dribble too. Wembanyama first started to get national publicity when he was practicing with Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert for France's national team, and the two were playing a one-on-one game that was caught on camera where Wembanyama was scoring with ease against the several-time winner of the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year award, and from there, he has continually lived up to the hype. He's been playing professionally in France since he was 15 years old. He's won France's Young Player of the Year award each of the last 2 seasons, and every year he has become more and more dominant in the overseas game. His 37-point performance last night consisted of 7 made three-pointers, and not just spot-up threes either. A few of them saw him curling off of screens like a wing player and knocking down threes on the move, and a couple others were made off of the dribble, so it was just really impressive stuff all around. Additionally, his face-up game in the post and in the mid-range proved to be nearly unstoppable because his length allows him to simply shoot over or even through some contests. And then defensively, he has all of the makings of a future Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA, because not only does he have the tools to affect shots around the basket, but he has outstanding defensive instincts and timing for the shots that he does block. He was blocking jumpers last night, he was breaking up ball handlers, he was deflecting passes, and overall, he was just causing a lot of havoc for G League Ignite when they tested him. I don't say this lightly, I promise you, but Victor Wembanyama is truly a generational talent, and every NBA team that is even slightly considering tanking this season will be doing so because of the possibility of bringing him into their organization to set themselves up for a bright future. Scoot Henderson is a hell of a talent, and he would legitimately be the first pick in most other recent drafts in history, but he's only viewed as the number 2 right now because of how special Wenbinyama is. The top 2 in this year's draft class is stronger than it has been in a very long time, so the battle for the right to draft them is going to be crazy to watch this season. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these 2 rising stars. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.